You may be seated, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Doing well? Awesome. I hope that you're having a wonderful Thursday so far. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the media launch of the Future of Work and Productivity Summit, put on by the Jamaica Productivity Center, an agency of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. So happy to have you all here this morning. Thank you so very much for being here. And we are going to get started. My name is Basilia Barnaby Cuff, and I will be your moderator this morning. Now, I am especially excited this morning about today's launch because we are getting ready to hear plans that will result in tangible steps towards elevating national productivity and innovative approaches to labor. So this morning promises to be very interesting, and so I hope that you are ready to receive all the information that we have for you this morning. We want to acknowledge the presence of our host, Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology. Can you just put your hands together for them as I welcome them this morning? Minister Colonel Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, Minister with responsibility for digital and skills transformation. Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Mr. Omar Azan, Chairman of the JPC Board. Mrs. Tamar Nelson, Chief Technical Director of the JPC. Ms. Kayla Grant, IDB Sector Specialist for Competitiveness, Technology and Innovation. Dr. David Wan, Acting Managing Director at the DBJ. Mr. Hugh Grant, General Manager at the DBJ. Ms. Lushana Cheddising, Technical Coordinator at Technical Coordinator at the DBJ. That's of Direct Business. Productivity Ambassadors who are here this morning, a very good morning to you. To our media partners, thank you so very much for being here. I know that we are live on social media, so a very good morning to all those who are tuning in. All the specially invited guests, a very good morning to you. Can you put your hands together for yourselves, everybody? And of course, want to say a very good morning to our permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Mrs. Colette Roberts Risden. Good morning to you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for all being here. All right, we're going to get started this morning, and I'm going to invite to the lectern at this time, Mrs. Colette Robert Risden, permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and she's coming with the welcome and overview. Put your hands together for her as she comes.
Moderator, Mrs. Basilia Cuff, nice to finally meet you outside of social media. Well, I know the acknowledgments have been duly done, but I need to acknowledge my ministers, the Honorable Colonel Charles Jr., Minister Norman Dunn, and of course, Minister Dana Morris Dixon. Is it me or? Oh, it's not me. Oh, okay. All right. Let me also acknowledge the chairman for the Productivity Center and our host, Dr. Kevin Brown. Thank you very much for hosting us this morning. We've had a very long and fruitful partnership with the University of Tech, representatives from the DBJ, IDB, the ministry partners, everybody, one and all, people joining us online. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, that's good. I give you a warm welcome this morning for joining us today, both who are here in person and online for the media launch of the Future of Work and Productivity Summit that will be held beginning June 20 next month. The activities will span 3 days. I'm pleased to welcome you as we embark on this pivotal event with our focus on bridging the innovation gap, education skills, and economic transformation. The evolution of work has been an ongoing narrative influenced deeply by technological progress and societal changes. From the days of the Industrial Revolution to the digital era, and now to the unprecedented challenges that were presented by the global pandemic, the workforce has continuously been adapting and transforming. How many of us remember when we used to go to the phone booth? You do. Our children don't know anything about that. But if you think about from the days we used to go to the phone booth, we used to line up, we didn't have phones at home, to now we have cell phones. Communication has certainly changed dramatically. And when you think of that simple example, the cell phone that has become almost like second place. We wake up in the middle of the night and the first thing we reach for is the phone. And I see you, many of you nodding your head. But just think of how work has changed from that technology communication. The COVID-19 crisis in particular has magnified the power of change and accelerated our shift towards more flexible, digitally driven work environments. It has laid bare the gaps in our systems, but also highlighted the resilience and adaptability of our workforce. Today's launch represents a crucial juncture in our journey towards economic transformation. The theme we're gathered under today is not just a statement, but a call to action. It challenges us to think critically about the future of work in Jamaica and to align our educational systems and skills development to meet the demands of a rapidly changing economic landscape. And as I speak about work and how work has changed, we are the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, but the changing nature of work has a significant impact and implication for our social security and social protection systems. We used to talk about the digital economy. Now we talk about platform workers. How do platform workers plan and prepare for hopefully when they get older? Our objectives are ambitious yet vital. We aim to educate and inform our stakeholders, from industry leaders to policymakers and academics, about the significance of innovation in productivity. We are here to foster a multi-stakeholder dialogue that transcends traditional boundaries and promotes an inclusive approach to economic growth. Furthermore, the summit will serve as a commitment from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to not only advocate for, but to actively implement policies that support digital upskilling and the adoption of new productivity tools. This is essential as we bridge the gap between current educational and training outputs and the future skills that are required for our economy. I hope that you will be inspired by the potential that innovation hopes to transform our economic landscape. Let us pledge to turn the challenges of today into the stepping stones and the development of Jamaica. Together, we can redefine the future of work and ensure that Jamaica not only adopts to these changes, but thrives as a leader in productivity and economic resilience. Already we're the poster child, coming out of the pandemic. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to, beyond this launch, all of us and more participating when we have the summit in June. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Risden, and so great to meet you in person too. I could not bring Ladasha Kwan today. You know, I did not want her to mash up the lunch, so I couldn't bring her today at all. Thank you so very much. You know, when you spoke about the phone booth, I recall probably a month or two ago, we were at a hotel, and some of these hotels, they still have the phone booths installed. And our 8-year-old, my husband is over there, by the way, our 8-year-old saw the phone booth, and she said, "Mommy, what is that?" And I was almost in shock because I'm saying, but it didn't click right away that they really have no idea what these things are. And I took it off the hook and I said, "It's a phone." So she says, she took it and she was looking at it like this. And I'm like, wow. So she was looking at it as if it would do video calling. And I'm like, wow, times have really, really changed. And you know, when we were growing up and we were watching Back to the Future and the Jetsons, it seemed so far-fetched. Did you know that Back to the Future, when we were watching it as children, well, for those of us who were children at the time, it was looking at the year 2020. And you know, we are at 2024. And it seemed so far away and so far-fetched. So, you know, I am really happy that the ministry is just moving with the tide and taking active steps towards innovative approaches to labor, because really and truly, the nature of work has changed so drastically since COVID, and a lot of it for good, right? I remember somebody calling me the other day and saying, "Can we have a meeting?" So I said, the first thing was, "Are we doing it virtually?" They said, "No, we have to do it in person." I'm like, but we can do it virtually. And they said, "Oh, yes." I'm still adapting to the times. So we still have persons who are adapting to the times. And so we continue to encourage the different innovative approaches. All right, thank you again, Mrs. Risden. Please help me welcome at this time Mr. Omar Azan, Board Chairman of the Jamaica Productivity Center, and he's coming to give his greetings at this time.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Sangster was just reminding me about the phone booth issues and that Superman doesn't have anywhere to change, no, with what's happening. But I wanted to say welcome to everybody. It's such an honor and privilege for me to be here as chairman of the Jamaica Productivity Center. And before I start, I have to big up our ED, Ms. Tamara Nelson, and her team, my board members, for working hard at looking at getting this thing done, because our ministers, and I have to thank our ministers. In fact, I need to thank the Prime Minister, because Jamaica can do everything to try and change fiscally and from labor, the labor side of things. But if we don't build a culture from where our ministers have and Prime Minister have started, and I have to big you all up, because it is not normal for 3 ministers to be supporting such a thing and the head at the Prime Minister's level. Because if Jamaica can get this right in terms of our productivity levels, being innovative, looking at the world and being ahead of where the world is, we have so much going, and the blessing will pour on us when we do this. So ministers, I want to thank you all for being here, because this is very important for the JPC. This is important for Jamaica. This is important for every ministry. This is important for the country as a whole. Because when we can improve our productivity levels and be innovative, whether it be through the type of jobs and how we work with the situation of jobs, it will make a huge difference in our status as a country. And I say this, and I give an example. I fixed breakfast for my sons before, when they were younger, before they went to school. And while I'm fixing the breakfast for them, because they always like daddy to fix them breakfast, and while I'm waiting on the toaster to toast, I'll go and wash up the dish. I don't wait until I'm finished toasting to butter the bread to go and wash up the dishes. So whenever I had a little free time, I would jump in and do something else. And I've maintained that throughout my lifestyle, even in my factory, my production facilities at my factory. We try to be productive in every aspect. So, ministers, I want to big you guys up, big you all up, big up the Prime Minister for what they're doing, because if we can change that as a country culturally, we're going to make a huge difference, not only for our families, but for our nation in general. And every eye would look at Jamaica and say, how did you do that? Right? So I want to thank you all. We endorse and we thank the ministry for supporting. And with what's happening now, Minister, you know we're going to need a lot of funding, PS, to be able to do what the Prime Minister have asked of us. So we're going to have to work together with private sector, with everybody, to try and get this right. So we thank you all. And thank you all for being here and for the university for being supportive of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Azan. And yes, funding is very important, and we want to underscore that. So we look forward to all the support that will be received for this summit. And we're very grateful for those who have sponsored so far. And notice I said so far because we're looking forward to other sponsors. And so especially if you're watching on social media, whether you're here or overseas, yes, we look forward to your support. So I want to say a huge thank you to the Inter-American Development Bank, the Development Bank of Jamaica, HEART, Intelligent Media, Incas Services Limited in Trinidad. Put your hands together for our platinum sponsors, everyone. Also want to say a huge thank you to Manpower Maintenance Services and our partner, the University of Technology. Thank you so much. Put your hands together for all our sponsors, everyone. And of course, we're putting our hands together for all our sponsors that will come on board as well. Put your hands together for them. You know, if they're watching or hearing, or if they're in the room and they feel so led, thank you so very much in advance for being a part of this summit. And talking about partners, we have in our presence Dr. Kevin Brown. All right, a little bit of technical difficulties, and we're sorting it out. I'm sure that we can all agree that with technology comes, you know, a lot of other issues, but we're working with it, and as we have done over the past few years, we adjust. Yes, 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 we adjust. So we're just waiting a few minutes. everything could have been all well before we started, and then we know how technology goes. So thank you so much for working hard to straighten this out. I'm going to welcome Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology, Jamaica. When I was driving in, I remember coming up here many a times because my brother, Brenton Barnaby, used to attend this university. So I used to be up here at 12 o'clock at night, bringing food when they're studying all night, picking them up when they can't get taxi. And I tell you, I mean, it was my full-time job to be my brother's chauffeur. And so I'm very, very happy to be here this morning and to welcome Dr. Kevin Brown to come and give his greetings.
Thank you. I trust your brother has gone on to bigger and better things, right? Because that's what UTech is here for, to transform lives. We do work them hard, Minister, but we know that in the end it will pay off for them. Good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be hosting this launch event and to have no less than 3 ministers of government here at UTech is quite special for us. So I want to just welcome Minister Pernell Charles Jr., who I worked with under different contexts, because when he began his ministerial journey, he was the Minister of State for with diaspora responsibilities in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And at the time, I was in the United Kingdom as a diaspora representative. So we have interacted before, and I know Minister is full of energy, so I can imagine the transformation that he is undertaking in his current portfolio in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. I also want to welcome Minister Dr. Honorable Dana Morrison-Dixon. Good to meet you, finally, Minister, and welcome to our university, and we hope to work with you as our Minister for Skills and Digital Transformation, because that's a big part of what UTech does. And to our alumni, our past student, our favorite friend, Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn. Welcome, sir. But this is home, so you know you're already welcome. But it's good to see you, and we look forward to continue working with you as well. Let me just also acknowledge the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Risden, members of the Jamaica Productivity Center, other members of the ministry and departments. I can see some of my faculty here as well, Dr. Henry Lewis, Dr. Graham, key faculty who have an interest in workforce productivity. It's good to see you here. Other friends and supporters of UTech, welcome. Now, it is important that we're having a launch here. It's not by chance, because UTech has been delivering for our nation with respect to producing the workforce that we need now and in the future. We have been doing that for 65 years, started in 1958 as the Jamaica Institute of Technology, and we have focused initially on TVET. Of course, we are now a fully fledged university, and the buzzword is what? STEM. So we are now Jamaica's premier STEM university. So over this last 65 years, we have produced 60,000 graduates that have gone into the workforce, whether it's in Jamaica, regionally, or globally. But as P.S. Risden said, education, not just UTech, but education in general, has to be aligned with our economic ambitions. And a few weeks ago, the Prime Minister declared Jamaica a STEM island. We also are aware of Vision 2030. And we have also seen the rapid technological change that is happening across the world. And so UTech has to pivot. We have to ensure that the university is producing the right type of graduate for what's to come. And it's not just about producing a graduate that can do mathematics well or science very well, because that's really not all what STEM stands for. STEM is about producing a graduate that is a critical thinker, a graduate that can find problems and solve them, an analytical graduate, because that's what the workforce of tomorrow will require. So that is our challenge. And so, Minister, we are preparing for that shift to produce the workforce that Jamaica needs. And we have updated our curriculum. We continue to do so. We are upskilling our faculty and staff. But I must say, Minister, just like the chairman of the JPC noted, a STEM education is not cheap. And so we will have to work with all partners, public and private and otherwise, to continue to find the funding to develop the university and to ensure that our students are exposed to the appropriate technology so that when they enter the workforce, they are truly work ready. So, Minister, and your team, I want to thank you again for allowing us to host you. We also look forward to the conference, the Future of Work and Productivity Summit in June. And as I said, Minister, UTech continues to be aligned with the ambitions of our government and our nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, sir. And you'd be happy to know that your graduate is the Director of Education at Anderson College in Canada, the first Jamaican and the youngest, so he's doing very well. And everybody always asks, where did you go to university? And he always proudly says, oh, I went to the University of Technology in Jamaica. So he's doing very, very well. So good job to you and the entire team. All right, so we know with different programs, we love to have persons who are championing the cause and representing the brand and, you know, just spreading the word now about this summit. And so we have several persons who have been named productivity ambassadors, and some of them are here today. And so when I call your name, I'm going to ask you to please stand. I'm seeing some beautiful names, and so I hope that I am pronouncing them correctly. And if I don't, you can correct me, and please forgive me, because my name is Basilia, and somebody once introduced me as Vaseline. I don't know how that came in, but that's what they introduced me as, and so I understand the struggle. So forgive me if I mispronounce your name, and I look forward to getting the correct names, all right? So our first ambassador this morning that we want to introduce to you is Imega McNabb. If you're here, please stand. All right, clap her just the same, yes. So she know that we claps for her. And Imega is Corporate Affairs Manager at Carreras. We also want to welcome to the program Andreen Collins, Management Professional. Here she is. Put your hands together for her, everyone. Keisha Cardoza, Commercial Manager at Carimed Group. Are you here? All right, put your hands together for her. Rodolphe Thomas, Vice President of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. Is Rodolphe here? Oh, we're clapping all of them just the same. Reginald Boudin, I know he's here because I was introduced to him. ISO Standards Ambassador in the Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. Put your hands together for him, everyone. He's right here. Sir, you know, we look like we could be related. You look just like my uncles, just like my uncles. Also want to welcome our ambassador, who is also our chairman, Mr. Omar Azan. Mr. Reese Campbell from Flow, Jamaica. And Carol Coy from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica. All right, all our ambassadors who are here, can you just please stand once more? And can we just give them a round of applause? Thank you so very much for agreeing to be our productivity ambassadors, and we look forward to working together. You may be seated. At this time, I'm going to welcome the Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn, and he's coming with his remarks at this time. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Miss No. Yeah, I had some trouble pronouncing the name as well. But good morning to you all. I'd like to recognize, of course, my chief, Honorable Pernell Charles, Minister, Dr. Dana Dixon, who is always very supportive of what we do. Of course, our CEO, our dear PS, Chief what? Dr. Brown from the University of Technology, our ambassadors, I want to mention, of course, CTD Nelson, that heads JPC, and the team at JPC, our chairman, other members from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, other distinguished partners that partner with us. Of course, the members of the media. I met some persons this morning that tell I have to be careful, being in their presence. And of course, all the other distinguished persons who are here today. I also want to say, Dr. Brown, it's a pleasure to be here. So yes, Madam Moderator, my journey started at this institution, and I'm sure I've made the institution proud, like your brother, and all the other persons who have graduated from this wonderful university. It's our university, and we are so proud of the University of Technology. So it is truly a pleasure to see you all here today as we launch this Future of Work and Productivity Summit. Today we gather not just as professionals, but as visionaries, collaborators, united in our quest to redefine the landscape of productivity in this beloved country, Jamaica. As the minister assigned to the Jamaica Productivity Center, I hold a particular deep and keen interest in the JPC's mission and the transformative role within our national economy. The organization is pivotal, and as an important arm of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, it is dedicated to instilling a culture of productivity that spans sectors, elevating both our output and our international competitiveness. The essence of JPC is captured not only in its goals, but in the passion and service orientation of its team. And I can tell you, JPC is really a small team, a very small team. But these individuals bring not just their skills, but their So they're not going to bring their skills, but their own heart to the role they play every day. They demonstrate what it means to serve a nation and not just a job. It is literally their calling. Their dedication ideas into action and potential into tangible outcomes. The achievement of JPC are numerous, from spearheading critical skills training programs that prepare thousands for the evolving demand of the global economy to conducting cutting-edge research that informs both policy and practice. These initiatives reflects the JPC's commitment to practical, measurable impact, a commitment that echoes through every layer of our strategy for national growth. Ladies and gentlemen, productivity is very real. You can touch it, you can see it in action, and you can feel its impact. We have honed in on 6 key areas that really defines our approach. And you'll hear more about these and the key elements later in this program. So we're not just working. We are working towards efficiency and standardization across all sectors. This means everyone is on the same page, aiming for the best performance. So it is about pursuing innovation and technology. By embracing cutting-edge technology, we're leading the world stage, continuously exploring new frontier. And you heard speakers before me spoke about the Prime Minister's push, and Dr. Dixon's here about technology, digital transformation, digitization, digitalization, and the STEM concept. The university here now becoming the first STEM university. So we strive to excel and go beyond what is expected. Every solution we deliver is designed with the highest quality in mind, aiming to wow our customers every single time. Training and certification of our workforce will be critical if we are to be empowered to shine everywhere in this world. We have to not only grow, but to expand in ways that opens new doors for every Jamaican, enriching our economic landscape. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, our development must be built to last. We're making sure today's strategies sets up tomorrow's generations for success. This means thinking long term and growing responsibly. The drive towards a more productive and prosperous Jamaica must start now. But it must be honest with you, and I must be honest with you. The path to productivity is complex and challenging, and yet it is filled with immense potential. To harness this potential, we must actively engage every stakeholder present here today and who are listening online. We cannot overstate the importance of collaboration in this journey towards national productivity. We need our partners, particularly the media, to amplify this message far and wide, to ensure that every Jamaican, every citizen is aware and is engaged. Similarly, we call upon our private sector, our leaders, our champions to champion this cause, to integrate these principles of productivity into every fabric of your operations. I therefore invite you to join us in this endeavor, to partner with JPC, to contribute your resources, to share your expertise, and to help advocate for policies that fosters an enabling environment for productivity. As the slogan for JPC says, productivity is everybody's business. So today, as one Jamaica, united under the banner of growth, productivity, success, and excellence, we transform our collective future. Let us seize this moment with both our hands, driving forward with unwavering commitment of a shared vision. Thank you for your commitment to this vital cause. Let us therefore proceed with urgency and optimism, for in unity there is strength, and in action there is hope. Thank you very much.
I think I'm going to have to write my husband a check after this. Thank you so very much, Minister. And, you know, I second the call for the media, especially, to spread the word, because we see so many different things going viral, especially on social media. And then a lot of times the things like these are left in the shadows, but we want to put it in the forefront. And so we all have a part to play. And for those of us who are on social media, for those of us who are in different positions in our communities, for those of us who go to church and we have our church WhatsApp groups, yes, let us find a way to spread the word, because we're looking forward to a better Jamaica. Amen? Amen. At this time, I am going to welcome Minister without Portfolio, Skills and Digital Transformation, Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon, to come at this time with her remarks. Oh, thank you so much.
Madam Moderator, at least when I go home today, I can say I did this event, and my daughter will be impressed because you are here as moderator. So I'm looking forward to being able to tell her, will it stay or will it not? All right, I think we're good now. All right, so Madam Moderator, good to see you in person and not on social media as we all do. Minister Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security, and one of the hardest working and most transformational ministers that we have. I acknowledge you. Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. You two are doing fantastic work. And of course, if both of you ask me to be here, I'm going to be here. In addition to the PS, Mrs. Colette Risden, who is one of our best permanent secretaries in Jamaica. And I don't think anyone will disagree with that. And so it's really great to be here to support all of you in this launch. Our host, Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology. You know, it is good to be here, and good to be here not just for JCDC Festival. I have a daughter who dances, and they always give their auditorium for JCDC. I'm always here for that each year, but it's nice to be here in a different capacity. So thank you, and thank you for hosting the Ministry of Labor team. Mr. Omar Azan, one of the leading luminaries in manufacturing in Jamaica. It's good to acknowledge you in a different role as the chair of the Productivity Center, and Mrs. Tamara Nelson, the CTD for the Jamaica Productivity Center. I also want to acknowledge Mr. David Wan, who is the acting managing director of DBJ, all of our productivity ambassadors who were announced, media partners, other specially invited guests. Good morning to you all. It's really a pleasure to join you at this launch today in terms of looking at the future of work and productivity. And I'm very pleased that the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and specifically the Productivity Center, made the conscious decision to invite and include the Office of the Prime Minister and its Skills and Digital Transformation portfolio in their dialogue. And I'm very pleased to see DBJ, the Heart NSTA Trust here also, as other parts of government supporting this initiative. What it says to me is that Jamaica and the business of government under this administration is quite mature. We know when we think of government, we think of silos, but instead of pursuing a siloed approach, departments and ministries are working much more closely together. We're cooperating, collaborating, on major policy and strategic thrusts. And that's what this morning represents. Last year, our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, articulated the 3 pillars of the administration going forward. And these are peace, prosperity, and productivity. For the first time in a long time, we're experiencing a sustained reduction in major crime. And when we think about crime and the need to address the crime issue, we're actually talking about a productivity issue. And we don't usually make the link. Productivity is much broader than whether we have the technology in place. It's very, very important. I mean, we had yesterday at the JMEA event, one of our leading businesses said they have lots of operations in North America, and they do not have to have security guards. Whereas in Jamaica, they have to have a line item and they spend millions of US dollars on security. And that's a productivity issue. And we have to understand that all of the things we're doing in transformation across our country actually ultimately also lead back to this question of productivity. And when we look at, in terms of the economy, our economy on that economic front is strong and is being rebuilt from the ground up to ensure that it is working for all Jamaicans. And that too, that work of the economy and making the principles and the underlying fundamentals of the economy strong means that we can have more productive businesses and that we can actually enhance productivity. So everything really is about productivity. And these gains that we've seen are not achieved by the work of any one ministry or agency. These are the result of an all-of-government approach with the new goal of increasing productivity. It is very pleasing to see Minister Charles, supported by Minister Dunn, adopting that same connected government approach to addressing this national emergency of unproductivity. And I have to take a little break to plug Minister Charles. Minister Charles is doing a massive transformation of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. He's working really hard on that. And he called me in my role and said, I'm having a council for transformation, and I want you to be on that council with me. What I'm saying to you is you have a different kind of leader sitting in front of you. He is one that understands that, as colleague ministers, we can work together. It's not about billing who is more important than what, but how can we work together? And I've seen some of the programs he has in place. I will support as much as I can because the work that this ministry does touches every single person. And so when they transform, all of Jamaica is really transforming. And I'm so happy that you are having purview over this ministry. And for me, it's really an honor to work with you. Really an honor. And so we all have a key role to play. And I'll go back to a little bit of history. I like to talk about Industrial Revolution. Sorry about that. But each Industrial Revolution has marked significant societal and economic transformations driven by technological advancements. The first Industrial Revolution, as we all know, began in the late 18th century in Britain, introducing mechanized manufacturing with innovations like the steam engine. It transitioned economies from agrarian to industrial over roughly 80 years. The second Industrial Revolution started about 1870, and it brought mass production and technologies like electricity and the assembly line, fostering industrial growth for about 50 to 60 years. The late 20th century heralded the third Industrial Revolution, or the Digital Revolution, shifting from analog to digital technologies, and that was over about 40 years, with the rise of personal computers and the internet. Now in the 21st century, the fourth Industrial Revolution continues, where we merge physical, digital, and biological spheres through AI, robotics, quantum computing, and other advanced technologies. And in some literature, you see talk of, are we really in the fifth Industrial Revolution or not? The world is changing, and it's changing faster every day. Each revolution has been shorter than its predecessor. Each laid the groundwork for the next. And these revolutions have been about more than technological innovation. They have actually reshaped entire societies. And so when we talk about the future of work, we're talking about a transformed Jamaica. And what does work look like in a transformed world? Because all of this new technology is changing so much, and you have the fear, of some people, am I going to lose my job because of what's happening? What we've seen over history is that we adapt, and things change. You change to match where the technological leaps are going. Now, our commitment to productivity extends into developing a workforce that is not only digitally literate, but is also equipped with the necessary skills to thrive in a rapidly changing environment. And so for us, we know that, and if you look at the World Economic Forum data, for example, they predict that within another year or so, 50% of all employees will need reskilling in relation to because of the technology that we see. And so what we've done in response is spearhead initiatives to train Jamaicans with the skills of AI, robotics, mechatronics, digital literacy, and much more. And if you see what HEART is doing, HEART is transforming itself because it understands that the world that it needs to be delivering skills for has changed. And so every course has to have technology built into it. We say we don't teach agriculture anymore, we teach agri-tech, because it's the technology that's going to help us to adapt, especially in a world with serious climate change concerns. We're going to have to use the technology more and more. 2 weeks ago, we launched the aerial robotics program in Montego Bay. That was about how we use drones. And you can use drones in many areas to increase productivity. In agriculture, it's being used now. There are people thinking, we have a shortage of persons to pick coconuts. Something as simple as that. And I know many of you have been wondering about coconut water and the lack of it sometimes. But we've been hearing there's a shortage of people to pick coconuts. What do? We have drones. How do you use drone technology? We have young, bright people also from UTech who are looking at drone technology quite a bit in terms of how we can use that in many facets of our country. And so we have had to change, and HEART is continuing to change. And a summit like this allows us to talk with the private sector. What are you seeing? What are you looking at? We heard a lot of our manufacturers say, with this environment of low unemployment, it's harder to find people. And so we're pivoting to more technology. So they're using automation more, robots more. There are actually quite a bit of robots being used in our manufacturing now, and it's going to expand. Who is going to fix those automated machinery? Where are the engineers? Where are the technicians? It's a completely different world, and our businesses are moving in that direction, and I think they're going to move there even more, and we have a responsibility to respond to that. And so recognizing, that all of this is key, and even other areas we've not spoken about. Yes, technology is big, but there's also more than the technology. There's also the mindset issues. I mean, in HEART, we've had to start embedding workforce readiness into it. You know what that is? Teaching people that if work starts 8 o'clock, you should get there at 8 o'clock. We can't take it for granted that that has been taught. So when we talk about productivity, there's some cultural areas that we're going to have to address, and sometimes it is not necessarily popular to talk about some of these things, but we have to talk about it. This notion that after you get paid, you don't go to work for a couple days, which the manufacturers have complained that still takes place in Jamaica, we're going to have to deal with that. And so this whole productivity thing, obviously it's not one ministry, it is several ministries where we have to work together and often deal with some uncomfortable areas, but we're going to have to deal with it. I'm so happy that this ministry saw it fit to do this summit to really start that real conversation. And I know based on these two ministers that it's going to be a real summit that's not going to be a talk shop, because that's not what we need. We don't need more talk. We need to really dispassionately say, what is it that we need to fix? What are the issues, and how are we all going to be working together to do that? And I'm confident, very confident, that we can tackle this productivity issue. And I tell you why. Because when I was in university, and I used to look at our economy, and I used to see what basket case it was, and that's one way to look at it. You always wondered, are we ever going to have growth? are we going to ever not have an issue with debt? And we were able to do it. We, Jamaica, were able to do it, to fix those economic problems, which were very deep and deeply embedded. And we did it because we worked together. Private sector, public sector, many parts of the public sector. And what Minister Charles is doing in his leadership is saying that's the same kind of approach. We're going to have to take to productivity. We're going to have to be honest about it, and we're going to have to do hard work. And it is going to be hard work. But if we are able to do what we've done, where we've moved from one of the worst performing economies to countries seeing us as one of the best performing economies, even through a huge pandemic, then it says to me we can tackle this productivity issue. And so I'm confident, and I'm here to support Minister Charles as much as I can. I will support, and the Office of the Prime Minister is going to support. This is really a key peg of our Prime Minister, and I wholeheartedly ask all of the sponsors, those who are listening, to support this initiative, and I ask all of you to play your part in spreading the word and having that conversation starting about the future of work and how we can, as a people, collectively and honestly speak about productivity. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Morris Dixon. I did not have a clue that that was a thing about after getting paid not turning up at work for a few days. Say what? When I was a news reporter, if I ever tried that, I would be out of a job. So do they still have their jobs after that? All the luxury? Because, especially in media, we couldn't pull that at all. And, when we talk about the cultural change, it is real. And we have to get to that place, especially in Jamaica, where Jamaica time is different from real time. And I think we wear it so proudly sometimes about being late. It's not something to be proud of, yes. Especially where productivity is concerned. We lose a lot of productive time when we have that kind of mindset. So we're looking forward to, productivity on a whole. And I'm so happy that you pointed out so many different things that come together to make us productive as a nation, and we're looking forward to the change that will come with that. Thank you so much again, Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon. And again to our sponsors, thank you so very much for being on board, and for those who are listening, and I know you are hearing the information, you're watching, and you're seeing what a magnificent work the ministry is doing. Make sure that you get in touch and come on board. And Dr. Morris Dixon spoke a lot about the work that the Honorable Colonel Charles Jr. is doing, and I'm going to invite him at this time. This is our Minister of Labor and Social Security, and he is coming with his remarks, and I'm sure that we will hear a little bit more about the plans that will come out of this summit. Please make him welcome, everyone.
First thing that I have to do after this meeting is to call the new commissioner. Whoever this guy is. I mean, you need to be hired now, like immediately. I'm telling you. I mean, she says it's her husband, but I don't know. But let me acknowledge our moderator, Mrs. Basilia Barnaby Cuff, Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon speak, because there is an authenticity, not just in her tone, but in what she's saying. You believe her. You know she believes what she's saying, and I am honored to be able to collaborate with you. And myself and Minister of State, too many doctors around me now. Let's talk about that. But Dr. the Honorable Norman Dunn, we were just whispering about how impactful you are. And we are truly, truly appreciative of your reach, and your just willingness to truly collaborate and support. Of course, permit me to acknowledge what is being now coined as the best, or one of, my amazing permanent secretary, Mrs. Colette Roberts-Risden, soon to be doctor, I'm assuming. Yes, she's getting very close. My good friends who are here from the Productivity Center, my chairman, Sir Azan, my chief technical director, Mrs. Tamara Nelson, all of the ambassadors who are board members as well, thank you for your service. And I want to acknowledge our friends from the IDB, Ms. Grant, Sir David Wan, Mr. Hugh Grant, the technical coordinator from DBJ, Ms. Shetty Singh, all of the members of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and our friends, specially invited guests, media partners. This is truly a very important morning. Now, I was just thinking a while ago that we have either lived or been told about the past, and we exist in the now, but the future is unknown. And that uncertainty can either be seen as a challenge or an opportunity. Whether it is a challenge or an opportunity depends on how you position your mind and your attitude, prepare yourself. And for Jamaica, we are a country that has a particular resolve. When you leave Jamaica and live overseas, you often have moments when you're checking the news and you realize that when you leave, your everyday connections are all about back home. There's something special about this place. There's something special about a country that is upset when you come third in the 100-meter. I mean, third? So, I believe in Jamaica. I believe that we have the capacity to do more. I believe that we have done well. And I believe that that should be the catalyst for us to be determined to be even more productive. I want to thank and congratulate the JPC team. I want to acknowledge my minister, my colleague, my friend, Dr. Dunn, who leads when it comes on to the responsibilities for the JPC. And together we determined that when our Prime Minister made the call for productivity, peace, and prosperity, that we were going to ensure that this ministry plays its part in driving the agenda around productivity. Now, a big part of what we speak about in the Ministry of Labor has to do with the future of work and what that will be. Will we have the same jobs? Will we be able to adjust to the use of technology? Right now, my 2-year-old, yes, 2-year-old, I'll tell you about that another time. Listen. But my 2-year-old, Mr. Sangster, scratches his head because he understands well. He might be better at managing the cell phone and device than any of you can imagine. Well, other than those of you who also have 2-year-olds. It is a part of their ever existence, a part of their being. My son is doing like this on my glasses because to him, a flat surface is digital. They are way ahead of us But what happens, Sir Budan, is that over time, we create those limitations and the barriers because of our own limitations. It is the same thing with persons who are disabled. They can do if we create the environment. But it is the barriers that they have asked us to remove. They're not asking us for anything too special. So with this summit, our goal is to start the conversation, move it to constructive discussion in order for us to be able to prepare this country for what is and what is coming. When I served in the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment, and Climate Change, yes, one ministry, I had the opportunity to be one of 14 ministers globally that led the COP26 discussions. That is when I truly came to appreciate that 2050 is right around the corner. And there are other countries preparing now for 3,000. Jamaica has to take on that kind of mindset. We as the leaders have the responsibility to make sure that we design the platforms and the mechanisms that allow for that conversation to move into action. This is a very important summit. I trust that you will all see yourself as ambassadors, not just those like Reese who have been now named and titled, but all of us should be ambassadors. We should all take on the responsibility of ensuring that our children, our church members, those who work with us, and most importantly, that person in the mirror. That productivity, what did I say, Tamar? Is a lifestyle. It starts, I dare say, with how you even treat with your own room. Is your room tidy? Is it organized? My father often says to me, don't worry about it. I can find what I need to find where I have it. But we have moved beyond that now because we have to design our spaces for efficiency. And it is sensible. It makes sense. Things are finite. And so as we build more, there is less. And so you have to build in a way that ensures that you use the little that you have in an optimum capacity. I just want to, as I always do, apologize to Mrs. Bolton. No, let me put on my glasses. That's the only time I'm reading. But the theme for the summit is critical. Bridging, the innovation gap, education skills, and economic transformation. And I tell you something, at the ministry, sorry, Ms. Williams, at the ministry, we are, as you said, Dana, we're driving towards transformation. We have no choice. Let me tell you that. Just think about it. We have senior citizens driving in miles away to hand a life certificate in. You have path beneficiaries who are picking up a check that, though it might be small to some of you, is life-saving to them. But just the cost of that transportation, just the cost of that process is eating away at that small check. We have thousands of persons that rely on us to be able to get the right skill set for their companies to import labor through work permits. I was just talking to Dr. Dunn. Every day I get cussing about work permits. But we have been able to cut down the time by maybe half. And we're trying further to digitize to make sure that the process is streamlined. We don't have a choice. We have to. This is a mandate. It is not just the Prime Minister saying, get this done. The Prime Minister, in his vision, sees that we have to get it done. But everybody here should play their role. I have told myself, I must tell you, that I can't stand as an ambassador for transformation, talking about it in my ministry, and then when I go home. So I've started the process of even looking on what I do and how I use my time. So often I will tell people, I don't have the time for that. But when I looked on my phone and I checked the settings on the usage, TikTok has but what have I done? I said to myself, Andrew, I said, I am going to take half of the time that the phone says I'm spending, because it couldn't be me spending that time, right? The phone says I'm spending when I'm traveling from one place to the next, or when I'm in the bathroom, brushing my teeth. And you can't even brush your teeth anymore in peace, because your mind is telling you always to be here. You have to take control in order to be productive. So I've cut that time in half. I've started, as Dr. Dunn knows, to learn a language or relearn a language. Comment allez-vous? Bonne journée. Yes. Comment allez-vous? I'm learning Spanish next year. And in addition to learning a language, I've said part of my productivity is health. So why is it that I can't find half an hour, just half an hour, to jump, skip, do a push-up, do something? I mean, think about it. We are utilizing our time to do everything else. Productivity must be a lifestyle. It starts with you, starts at home, and we are pushing it now with this summit. And I want to challenge all of you to embrace the productivity agenda, to define it wherever you are, whether it is that you are at UTEC as a president, or whether you are working at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Whatever you're doing, we want you to make sure that you're a part of the productivity train. We are at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security transforming our process of communication. We have set up now what the PS says I must not call a call center. It is a customer contact center. Very fancy. But the intention is for us to move productivity into all spheres of the ministry, into how we speak to you, into how we listen to you. And we do so also by transforming the various aspects of PATH. I'm hoping that by now you would have heard about our PATH town halls. Yes? No? Yes? Okay. And what we're doing there is also coupled with the institution of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, which we have formulated as a body corporate. So transformation is across the ministry. And let me, since I've put on my glasses, I've actually now been able to see CTD Williams. How are you? Wow, you were here all the time, Miss Mirage? I'm telling you, this is a wonderful piece of technology. Yes, I'm seeing all, yes, wow. It's a beautiful room. But let me close off by just saying, I consider the responsibility of this ministry to be a blessing, I want to ensure that today we lay the groundwork to make sure that at this media launch, all of us reaffirm the principles that are going to help to propel us into the future that we want to design. Do not allow for the future to be by just coincidence. Hello. I did not see you, Miss Coronas. How are you? I'm telling you, glasses are amazing. We have to make sure that we are reaffirming commitment every day. Mr. Budan, you are the general when it comes down to ensuring ISO standards. When I was at the Ministry of Agriculture, I was proud to see that RADA was certified ISO 9,000 something that you had as the number. But what is important is that you are an ambassador, even before being here, pushing an agenda for standards across government. If we can get those standards to be accepted, adhered to across government, you're going to find real sustainable transformation. Not just one-day transformation. We have to introduce the right innovation and technology. As simple as you see it, this is technology. And I often tell persons, if I was living a century ago without this, I would have been categorized as perhaps. No, it's a serious thing. Think about it. A lot of things that we take for granted is technology that has become so integrated into our lives that it's just there, but it's not. And so we have to find innovation and technology in our practices as well to make sure that we're harnessing the best of tomorrow. We want to also ensure that we are looking out for the people. The people are the most important element of anything that we're doing. This is the people's ministry. That's what we call it. CTD Jennings, this is getting bad to worse. How are you? Good morning. I'm just seeing you as well. Every time I glance, I'm seeing another chief technical director. But that shows you the support that we're getting from our ministry. All of our leadership is here. Can you give them a round of applause, please? And I want to tell you, I might sound like I'm joking, but it's very important. So what it shows, Omar, is that we all are taking this as high priority. Every chief technical director, our permanent secretary, 2 ministers, this is not something that we see as a side issue. This is what Jamaica requires if we are going to have sustainable development. We have done well. We have done very well as a country. When you listen to the numbers that Dr. Dana Morris Dixon is training at heart, we're doing very well. But we want to do better. And that thirst for growth is what is going to drive this summit into action. I want to conclude by just saying to each and every one of you that are here today, thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. I do hope, I do know, I'm confident that together we will not only have a successful summit, but we will give our support to the Jamaica Productivity Center. I heard the call from the chairman for more money, more funds. Chairman, I am happily telling you that as the Minister of Labor and Social Security, I have no control over the funds. But myself and Dr. Dunn, we will be speaking to the man who has control over those funds. And we're going to echo the sentiment. We're going to, yes, I knew. I do know. But we're going to echo the sentiment because I want to tell you, in all seriousness, collaboration requires coordination and cooperation. it is not by coincidence that we are in one of the most instrumental educational institutions today. UTEC will stand, and I know with its president, as a pillar of support and as a very strong partner going forward to define this Jamaica, the productive Jamaica that has economic transformation. Thank you to all of the partners. Thank you to you who are all now. As I wave my hand from left to right, I'm going to, this is the ministerial authority. You are all ambassadors. You saw that? You saw that? Did you feel it? All right. I should now take some offering. But as ambassadors now, I just want to say to you, please, productivity must be what? A lifestyle. Go home, look on your room. Go in your car, go to your desk. Ask yourself some serious questions. Think about what you're doing and apply the principles that you already know. And then, see you at the summit, and let's start to transform Jamaica. One love.
Thank you so very much, Minister. Boy, I thought you were going to make headlines this afternoon with talking about the millions that would be given, but I know that you will champion the cause, and we know that other persons will also come on board. And Doc, I love how you just put it in that you need some money too. Yes, put it out there. Ask and it shall be given. Yes, we believe in that. And so we're talking about money, and yes, we love to talk about dollars and cents because, you know, in order to support programs like these and to keep it going, we need money, right? And we need lots of it. And I'm going to invite at this time to come to this stage. I'm going to invite our permanent secretary and our ministers and CTD, Tamar Nelson, to come. We have a check to present to you this morning. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. I love how you come up here first. Yes, all of you. Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. Yes, man, all of us, yes. Everybody, we're getting money. And I'm also going to invite David Wan, Acting Managing Director at the DPJ, to come and make the presentation at this time. And this check is being presented on behalf of the Development Bank of Jamaica. 1 million Jamaican dollars. Is Jamaican or US? I don't want to get it wrong. US? Oh, they're just counting for now. You know, it's going to go up, right? Yes, yes, we believe so. Yes, we need more photos. Amen. We believe it. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Before you leave, ministers and everyone, is there anybody else who would like to present $1 million check? Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? All right. So they'll do it later on at a later date, but it's coming. It's coming. Yes. And you know, sir, I don't mind you calling the commissioner regarding my husband. Just let them understand that I am first priority. So, you know, when duty time comes, wifey comes first. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. You know, when we used to, in our earlier years of marriage, and we used to go out to events, he's always like that. Persons used to say he's my security. They never thought he was my husband, but I'll take it. Either way, I'll take it. All right, so we have something very exciting for you this morning, and I want the podium to stay right here, the lectern to stay right here, because I want you to focus on the screen. Guess what? We have a productivity jingle and video premiere. Big things and nice things. Put your hands together, everybody. We have a productivity jingle and video premiere at this time for our program. And so for our summit, the Future of Work and Productivity Summit. Here is, seeing the first time anywhere in the world, here is our jingle and video for the Future of Work and Productivity Summit. Please take a look.
Everybody gather round. Everybody gather round. Everybody gather round. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. We're working, and I'm doing more with what I have to work with, yay. We're working, and if I do my part, everything grows here. If we work with one another, then we can change the world. A better future is mine today. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Everybody gather round. Work together, together. Everybody gather round. Work together. Vision 2031 Jamaica. Everybody gather round.
Gather round.
Everybody gather round.
Everybody
I would say
gather round.
productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better
Services.
Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. We're working, and I'm doing more with what I have to work with, yay. We're working, and if I do my part, everything grows here.
If we work with one another, then we can change the world. A better future.
A better future.
It's mine today.
It's mine today. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Productivity, more profits for you and productivity. Productivity, better goods and services. Let me know. Everybody gather, work together, together. Hey, hey. Everybody gather, work together. Vision 2031 Jamaica. All right, so we're not finished yet. So my name is King DL, the composer of this song. If you think it sounds good, you can give me a little round of applause. Thank you. This is Ovesha Bartley, touring background vocalist for two of our brightest female stars, Leela Ike and Coffee. And she is also, she sing the jingle with me, basically. Right. So, and right now, just for the next minute, there's a short jingle. We're not going to take off on the doctor cap, on the minister cap, everything. And we're not going to turn quiet. Yeah, we are going to learn the little productivity part. So all you have to sing is, it's really, really simple. All you're singing is productivity. I don't want to know what's in. Okay, all right. So come again. So me, I'll do the productivity, you do the next part. So ready again, 1, 2, 3. So you will sing productivity, more profits for you and me. Same thing. Better goods and services.
Better goods and services.
One more time. Productivity,
More profits for you and me.
productivity. Better.
Better goods
All right.
and services.
From the top, one more time. Turn on the track. From the top. From the top. One more time from the top. Last time now. All right. Ready? That should be the ringtone. Yes, man. Everybody gather round.
Everybody gather round.
Everybody gather round.
Everybody
Your time now.
More profits for you and me.
productivity.
Better goods and
Una have it.
Productivity. More profits for you and
Blaster.
productivity.
Better.
Better goods and services.
We working. And I'm doing more with what I have to work with, yay.
We working.
And if I do my part, everything grows hair.
If we work with one another, then we can change the world a better future. It's my today.
It's my today.
Productivity. More profits for
Hey, productivity.
Better goods and services.
Hey, productivity. More profits for you and productivity.
Better goods and services.
Outside now. So
Everybody gather round.
Together, hey. So
Everybody
together.
work together. Vision 2031 Jamaica.
Thank you. Come on, give them another round of applause, everyone. Absolutely beautiful. Good job, Dale, with composing that song and, of course, that jingle. Is it yet on YouTube? We need it on YouTube, and we need it on TikTok as a sound, and we need it on Instagram as a sound. You can play it on radio too, you know? Yes, so to all those persons, NCUFM, it is, you know, yes, it's good music to play. Yes, we can play it on radio as well. So thank you so very much to King Dale for composing that jingle for us. And of course, it's very catchy. And you know, once music is attached, it's something that can be caught very quickly. And so we look forward to that going viral and spreading far and wide. I wonder if I can find a skit to do with that song. Yeah, Ladasha can find a skit to, yeah. We're going to find a skit to do with that song. She's going to do, okay, all right. When you see it, you see it, all right? When you see it, you see it. Thank you so much again. That was the productivity jingle and the video premiere. Another round of applause for them, everyone. It has been a wonderful morning of information and discussion so far, and I'm going to invite to do the closing remarks Mrs. Tamar Nelson, Chief Technical Director at the Jamaica Productivity Center. Put your hands together as she comes, everyone. And I hear she's a hard worker. Give her another round of applause. All right, wonderful.
And heavily too, might I add. Madam Moderator, thank you. Husband of the moderator, thank you too. I'm telling you, wonderful. Oops. All aboard? Are we all aboard on the productivity train? Oh my goodness. A round of applause for those artists, like once more. Beautifully done. I think we'll be all hearing that song in our heads this evening, and we're looking forward to hear it aired and played, and for us to not only sing it, but to embody the message that it shares. A very simple message, and is one that can lead us to a better place. So we're looking forward to that. So ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, honored speakers, it's my privilege to stand before you to bring this launch to a close, but it's by no means the end of the conversation on productivity. As you have heard stated before, I mean, just your presence today is testimony of the importance of productivity. 3 ministers here with us today. We thank you. Hard-working ministers. I don't know how they do it, they're everywhere. And it's hard for them to say no. And for all those who support them, you know yourselves, who are up till late in the night to ensure that everybody looks good and that this country is moving in the direction that it needs to go to. So we're all very thankful for your support, because we want to enable our labor market and this productivity movement here in Jamaica. So it's a pleasure to really share this with you this morning and the details of this Future of Work and Productivity Summit. As we conclude this launch event, I want to express my deepest gratitude, particularly to our sponsors. Many of them didn't come up and hand up an oversized check, but they have been with us for months. Just you call them up and say, well, you know, we are planning this summit and we want you on board, and they are just ready and on hand to give off their time and their services. And, you know, they are, I would call them family. So the DBJ, we have been partnering for a while, and we are very happy to have you on board. The IDB and Compete Caribbean, they are sponsoring productivity research, which is so important. And so important, we are having an entire day of the summit dedicated to productivity research. We are here at a university. We have a lot of doctors here, some of them who we have worked very closely with over the years, from the engineering department, and now Dr. Lewis, and we'll continue on that path, and we want everybody to be a part of those research initiatives. So the theme of the conference, Bridging the Innovation and Productivity Gaps, Education, Skills, and Economic Transformation. So one of the things that you notice with that theme like that, it's not a one ministry, a one department, a one person initiative. It is something that requires everybody to be on board. So I hope you felt right? Everybody felt it when Minister did it, right? Because we're all ambassadors for productivity. Everyone in this room are ambassadors. So some weren't named, but all our ministers are ambassadors, and everyone in this room are now ambassadors that will help us on that movement. And you would have heard from the minister that productivity is right, well, we are all good students today. Is it the school? But it's a lifestyle. We heard also from Minister Dixon that it's an attitude, right? Culture. And that it all starts with the man in the mirror. So it all starts with us. So we all have our part to play. There's one definition of productivity that starts out that productivity is, first of all, a state of mind. So that's the biggest thing we have to transform is our mindset. So we know we have a road ahead of us, but it's a journey that we do well to be on. So May is also Child's Month, and we'll be engaging with our students. So we'll continue on that program, and the ministers are on board with that. So you'll be hearing more about those initiatives. Our businesses and entrepreneurs, we're looking forward to you participating in the productivity competition. And this year, we're having it in the public sector as well. So we are looking forward to those initiatives. So please stay tuned to the ministry pages and also those of the JPC so that you can hear more about these competitions as we roll out. We also believe that measurement is a big part of productivity, because if you don't know where you are, you won't know what to improve and how to improve. So we'll be launching a survey, and of course we want as many participants so that we can know what we need to do, what programs we need to implement. And this is not information that we're going to keep to ourselves. This is information we're going to share with everybody so that we all know where the gaps are, what we need to do, right? So we want to implore you to have everybody, as many persons as possible, to fill out those surveys when they come through, because we want to enable sustainable productivity improvement and innovation, not only in Jamaica, but the region. So we want for us to glow so brightly that others can't help but shine. So as we engage our organizations and our partners, and this is not the end of the journey, so everyone else who wants to be a part of this can do so. We welcome other partners on board, because when come June 20th and 21st, World Productivity Day, we'll be having expos, panel discussions that will just blow your mind. And what we want to do is to have resources available so that persons in Jamaica can know where to look to, what to do, how to approach productivity. So there won't be a question in anybody's mind where that is concerned. So we appreciate all our partners, all our ambassadors, those who are on board and those who are to come, as we move towards a successful summit and beyond. So keep abreast of the activities, follow our pages, and let us continue to learn from each other, support one another, as the song said, and push the boundaries of what's possible. And in closing, I want to offer my heartfelt thanks once again to each and every one of you to be a part of this journey. So not only one love, but one Jamaica. Thank you.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the launch of the Future of Work and Productivity Summit. Put your hands together for the entire team and our ministers and everyone, our sponsors for being a part. And we are looking forward to the rollout on June 20, which is actually World Productivity Day. So we're looking forward to that, and of course, all the benefits that we will yield as a country from this summit. Another round of applause for everyone here today. Put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you so very much for being here, all our ministers. Thank you for being here today. And of course, remember to spread the word. Remember to share it. Remember to tweet it. It's not tweet anymore. Exit. Yes, exit, and whatever other social media platforms are available in your communities, in your churches, let us spread the word about this summit. All right, thank you so very much for being here. My name is Basilia Barnaby-Cuff, and it was my pleasure being here with you this morning. And at this time, we are going to invite the media to come on down, and our ministers outside. Yes, we're going to do our photo ops outside, so you can make your way outside, everyone. All right, thank you so much again for being here, and a very good morning to you.
Everybody gather round. Everybody gather round. Everybody gather round. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. And I'm doing more with what I have to work with, yay. We're working, and if I do my part, everything grows here. If we work with one another, then we can change the world. A better future is mine today. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Productivity, more profits for you and me. Productivity, better goods and services. Everybody